Get this.
Weekday mornings from 9
On Triple M.
Jarrod Molloy is joining us so that we can call the program Martin Molloy. That's a long bow. He used to play for Collingwood. See, I know something.
Yep.
All right, I'm looking for sex-related stories in the paper. Listen to this, Jarrod. This is from Queensland. Brothels could soon be banned from setting up near cemeteries. Queensland's Urban Local Government Association has called on the Beattie government to legislate against bordellos being set up within 200 metres of a cemetery. As with schools, the request follows an uproar over a now-defunct proposal for a brothel near Ipswich Cemetery. There's a place for brothels and cemeteries, and we don't believe the two mix, said the Ipswich mayor. I like the idea that he's decided there is a place for brothels. Good. The last thing you want is if there's a burial going on with brothel interaction next door.
It's a good place to have your wake, though.
It is. But I agree. I don't think that's right. I think it's disgraceful. I mean, you don't want to be on the job with a prostitute and look out the window and see a gloomy funeral going on, do you?
Who needs that?
Throw you right off your game. Hey, there's people trying to get laid in here. Show some sensitivity. What's going on up in Queensland? Here's some. Look, this is interesting. Do you get into the internet pornography, Jarrod?
No, not really.
Have you got a blocking device?
Yeah.
Have you got the government's $117 million blocking device that doesn't work at all and simply swears at 5-year-old children, as we discovered yesterday?
Does it?
They unveiled something. It didn't work at all. But listen to this. Record numbers of people are downloading pornography from the internet. Campaigners fear that as computer porn becomes more widespread, it will give men unrealistic expectations of their love lives and threaten couples' relationships. So this is what's happening. Men are looking at so much pornography on the internet, it's giving them unrealistic expectations about what to expect from women. Mm. Yes, I'm sorry, darling, your breasts just aren't grotesquely distorted enough. Too much dental care, not enough tats love. The internet has raised my expectations. Unless you're prepared to adopt a harshly lit and inappropriately gynecological approach to, say, doing the vacuuming, you simply won't be meeting my new, incredibly high expectations. Damn you, bigandbouncysluts.com, for redefining my standards of excellence. Okay. Calm me down.
There's blokes at work looking that up now.
See, that's me trying to think of one you could say on the radio.
Yeah.
I've gone with bigandbouncysluts.com. I'm not sure if it exists.
I'm sure it does.
Type that in. What else is going on? Oh, look, one of the least sexy sex scandals is, did you see that business about the Deputy Prime Minister of England, John Prescott? Did you follow his work?
No, I didn't. Just shows I don't really know a lot, doesn't it?
Welcome to Get This. But he was, remember that sex scandal? Just disturbing.
Yeah, there's a few around in that country when it comes to politics. Which one is this in particular?
The Deputy Prime Minister, and he was involved with his middle-aged secretary, and they were on the job, during a funeral or something.
Right.
Something
Should move to Brisbane.
But listen to this. He's given up his grace and favour country estate, saying free use of the posh pad had become a matter of controversy and criticism. So he's got rid of his country house. Yeah, good move, but not enough to erase the image of him shagging his secretary in the office with the door open, though. We'll have to do more than just sell the house. Flush those disturbing images away.
Get those carpets steam cleaned.
Hey, Jarrod, have you ever had sex in a lift?
I've had such a boring life, haven't I?
So you haven't, and neither have I. And have you, Richard?
No, I haven't, no.
Nikki, our producer, sex in a lift? No. Well, that's 4. So there's 4 of us saying no. 1 in 9 Australians have. This is a statistic or a statistic if you prefer, that we heard a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
1 in 9. And yet I've been asking around the station, nobody so far has had sex in a lift. And would surely AFL footballers, that's be all they'd be doing.
Yeah, well, there's plenty of lifts at the footy ground, so...
Is it because we have the glass lift? Is
Yeah, that's
why?
what I was worried about. I mean, the Christmas party, those figures are just taken from last year's due.
Time for one more sex-related story. What have we got here? Oh, yeah, listen to this. The tax office has vowed to, quote, stay involved with brothels and erotic dance clubs after its unannounced investigators sampled 50 venues and uncovered rampant tax evasion.
Yeah, they're getting contra.
Would that be claimable, do you think? Would they then be filling out tax forms? I don't know. Guys from the tax office down at the local brothel or strip club. That's great what you're doing to my penis, but can I inquire if you have an ABN number? Those breasts are fantastic, but I'm gonna need to see receipts. I should tell you at this point that strap-on device is both painful and claimable. Give a round to Dylan Lewis. He's here.
Yeah.
He's cluttering things up and giving people an opportunity to switch over. Where have you been?
England.
Have you? England?
Yes, for the last year I've been in England, travelling around, visiting other places near England, such as Amsterdam.
Oh, yes.
Don't remember that.
Amsterdam.
Yeah.
What goes on there?
Yes, apparently.
A lot of people driving at 6 kilometres an hour
On bicycles.
in a car being pulled over by a policeman on foot. That happened last week. Only in Holland.
To be sure.
And what have you been doing over there?
I've been doing bits of radio, bits of TV, bits of little films. I was in a short film over there. I also started a man choir over there, which was very successful. In fact, the man choir sang a Madness song.
Really?
We did. We sang It Must Be Love in a cappella, 20-part harmony.
How do you go about starting a man choir?
Well, first you need a T-shirt. Let me show the listeners.
Oh, that's very fruity.
You like that?
Man choir, but
Man
sort
choir.
of written like it might say Saxon or Wasp.
Yes, it looks very metal, doesn't it? That's the trick. We trick
All
them.
it needs is the umlauts, and then we're away.
More umlauts on this program. And, you know, what happened? I mean, I was a huge fan of Recovery and Angus Sampson,
Yes.
the enforcer. He
Yes.
was on the show just a couple
He
of
was
days
indeed.
ago.
I had to listen to that. That was hilarious.
He gets about,
He can talk a lot about nothing, can't he?
and sure can. Just poke him with a stick. And I loved that there was the 10:30 slot. And then what? I mean, did the ABC give you the arse officially, or what?
Oh, no, it's never official, I don't think, at the ABC. They just forgot about me, and I left and wandered off and found my way to Channel 10 for a while, did some work there on
Yes.
Pepsi Live, and then left, didn't do that anymore, and then did Celebrity Big Brother, and then did a circus on Channel 9, and then went to England.
I have been sacked from every network you just mentioned.
Congratulations.
Hang on, there was too much going on in that sentence. There was a celebrity circus. What was that exactly? That was Cameron Daddo on a tightrope.
Exactly.
And
yes.
what did you do?
I was a clown.
Right? Was that
Typecast.
challenging?
No. I tried to make it challenging. I had a few difficult tasks. They did get me up on the trapeze one time, which was not good for me because I'm afraid of heights.
Right.
And I screamed like a woman.
There you go, as is traditional. What about as a clown? Did you get to throw a bucket of water, but it turns out to be confetti?
No, I wanted to do that and I didn't. I got to juggle and I got to ride around in a small humorous vehicle and on a small humorous bicycle.
With wonky wheels?
No.
When the only way you can wash your car in Brisbane is with a bucket of confetti. You're not actually allowed to use water, apparently.
law.
That's what I've been told. Now, hang on. You said you were on Celebrity Big Brother.
Yes, that was a while ago, 2002.
Was that the first of those they did here?
It was the first and the only.
And you won.
And I ruined it and I haven't done another one since.
And who was in there? Who were the other celebrities?
Kyle Sandilands was in there.
Yes.
Good old Kyle with the widest face in the history of mankind.
The widest face since Michael Landon.
And Bert Newton.
Hey, you say Big Brother, and there's always Big Brother news. I noticed they've been in there so long that they just don't bother to even respond to Big Brother. Have a listen to this. Now, we have not doctored this up. This, and there's everyone talking at once. Listen very closely to this clip.
I just got a common flu and I got a population of E. coli in my gut and it resorted to me nearly losing my kidney and getting severely sick because I was just anemic. So I had to get my diet on point.
This is Big Brother.
Those years, it just wasn't cautious.
Nothing.
So I was only vegetarian, vegan for about 6 months.
Oh, there you go. Nobody's interested in Big Brother.
Big Brother over here.
And apparently Big Brother has nothing to say. He's just sitting in a booth somewhere going, this is Big Brother.
He's just practicing. This is Big Brother. I've got to practice now and then.
Hey,
Keep
you
that
can
low-
do that.
I wish I was doing that one day.
The Katie Jamie romance, that's the big talk. Have you been in the country for this?
Well, I've been trying to catch up over the last 2 weeks and I've been watching it a lot and I've even been looking it up online to watch it on the live free cam streaming.
Can't get enough of it.
Can't get enough. Big fan, always have been.
Listen to this. Big Brother housemate Katie had not been out of the house 24 hours before she met her prospective in-laws, leaving her boyfriend Jamie behind in the Gold Coast compound. Katie knew that she would have to face her new beau's family without him. That wouldn't have been uncomfortable, would it?
No.
Hi, I'm the girl who was performing oral sex with your son on national television last week.
I'm a virgin!
That's just what happens in the rewards room. She was all class. This is in the Telegraph the other day. She was all class when asked if she was expecting a slice of the prize money if Jamie won the series. She said, I wouldn't take it unless he would give me a boob job. It is love, you see? That's the kind of bond they've got. What about horrible blunders? Let's do that today. Have you found any horrible blunders there?
Yes. drunk Kate spews in public. How good is that?
When you say drunk Kate, I'm assuming you're meaning cocaine Kate.
That's the one I'm talking about. Now she's got a new name, Drunk Kate.
So Kate Moss is why would she be throwing up in public?
Because she was drinking from a bottle of Jägermeister at a concert, and then she was pashing off with the guy from Primal Scream, the bassist, and then later on she was spewing, and then soon thereafter she seemed to look very awake and okay again,
Right.
and had her makeup redone and was partying away from 1:30 onwards.
And everyone copies Kate Moss. Everyone will be doing it. I'm
Spew in public.
And it would have been a beautiful,
It'd be luscious, wouldn't it?
colourful autumn hues
Yeah.
spew. I'm
Autumn
imagining.
hue spew. I would have liked to have bottled that and sold it on eBay.
The downturn in the grape market had a potentially disastrous outcome when a company director allegedly planned to plant, if you prefer, a bomb in a winery over lost income. This bloke was unhappy with what was going on at the the winery that was in, whereabouts is it? Between Myrtleford and Bright in northeast Victoria. So right out in wine country. He thought, I'll blow up the winery and people will think it's Al-Qaeda.
Yeah, nice. Good plan. Great plan. He hadn't drunk much wine when he made that plan, had he?
So Al-Qaeda? Forget about those tall buildings in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Let's get the winery. Let's target the wine
Hit him where it
district.
hurts. That's good.
Let's blow up the set of Sea Change. That'll work. So that's a horrible blunder. It could be anything. Everyone's made a horrible blunder, haven't they?
Have you?
Oh, well, it's obviously, clearly talking too much on this program. Horrible blunder.
G'day, Tim. You've got a horrible blunder?
Yeah, it involves Glenn Taylor, ex-Channel 10 newsreader in Brisbane.
Is it 10 or 7? Have I been getting that wrong?
Oh, he was 10 up here. He might be 7 elsewhere.
Yeah, but isn't it naught up there? Is it still naught? When I lived in Brisbane, it was Channel naught. It was very confusing. You know, you come from New Zealand and the channels are 1, 2, 3 and 4. And you come to Australia and going, let's have 2, 7, 9, 28.
Just random.
It'll be easy to follow.
Used to be Channel O, then it went to 10 with a big X.
Yeah.
That's right.
Anyway,
'cause-
Glenn Taylor, he was doing a story on a swimmer being suspended, and it was meant to cut to the little pre-packaged deal. And he added in by his testicles, except they didn't cut to the story.
Nice. What a balls up.
Oh, look, I haven't heard the name Glenn Taylor for years, but he's starting to become a cult figure on this program. There's so much we remember about him. His fascinating documentary, Australia, A Nation of Sand. The fact that he moved to Brisbane and within like 5 minutes suddenly was saying, come on the Saints. And now talking about a swimmer hanging by his testicles.
Last I saw of him, he was hosting a Christmas show at Forest Lake.
Oh, okay. All right. Maybe I need a new nickname. Look at these guys. You seen these, the B-boys? You know, the hip-hop dancers that are touring.
Yes.
They've all got good names. I like Anointed S.
Nice.
How would you like to be Anointed S?
Nice. You'd be T-Mar, wouldn't you?
I'd be Anunko T. It's me. Because I'm an unco. It's going to be my B-boy name.
What's wrong with T-Mart?
T-Mart, R-Mars,
Mars.
D-Lou,
D-Lou. That sounds like a toilet.
N-Ham. That's our producer.
Nice.
Anna on the phones. I don't even know her surname. It's just on the phone, so she can be...
A to the N to the A.
There you go.
Word up, my diggy.
That's got sizzle. Don't forget Snoop Doggy Dog is going to be coming in here and reading Charles Dickens' Martin Chuzzlewit, as promised.
For shizzle.
He's going to ruzzle the chuzzle.
My nizzle.
Parko, welcome to the program.
It's wonderful to be here at last.
You know, I have to warn you, though, we know nothing about sports. But we do try to make up for it with heaps of irrelevant information about movies.
Right.
Were you in Wind Rider with
Yeah.
Tom Burlinson?
Yes, I was. You're taking me back to when I was still a young actor in Perth in the 80s. Not just Tom Burlinson, but Nicole Kidman too.
That's true.
Wow.
Yeah. And I still somehow, it's a bit sad, but I entertain this vague sort of daydream that one day I might just be at some sort of function, some premiere, some launch, and maybe Nicole will be there and I'll be there. And she'll recognise me across the room and go, "Hey, Matt." Not that we had any scenes together or anything. I played in this movie, Wind Rider. Tom Burlinson was a kind of young millionaire's heir apparent, whose his dad was Bud Tingwell, of course, because you remember during the 80s there was a law that said Bud Tingwell had to be in an Australian movie. And Bud was his millionaire dad, and Tom was the irresponsible young man who just wanted to windsurf.
Windsurf. It was the film that ripped the lid off the windsurfing scene.
That's right. And Nicole was a young sort of freckly redhead allergic to the sun who just thought windsurfing was a complete waste of time. And Tom won her over. She fell in love and da-da-da. And I played part of Tom's surf crew. My character was called Lurch. And Lurch always had a new fad. Lurch was into this, he was into that. I did a hilarious scene that involved Lurch. Lurch decided vitamin B was the way to go.
Yeah.
Hilarious scene where Lurch is in the pub with his mates and then goes, got to go. Been caught short, runs to the gents, and then we shot this elaborate scene with a hose tucked inside my board shorts with multicoloured different kinds of wee coming out. And it was hilarious. And in the end, it got cut.
Oh, they cut that?
They cut that so they could have a love scene between Nicole and Tom.
That's better than most of what's left. There is still a scene of you meditating on the beach, doing a bit of work.
Yes, that was as close as I got to Nicole. I'm talking about 15 metres.
Okay.
There's establishing shot, me on the sand going, Nicole walks past, camera goes with Nicole. Can you believe that?
So hang on, Parko's worked with Nicole Kidman. So imagine what would have happened if it had been you in that wedding. What would she would have been Narco? Really, wouldn't she?
That would have been her name, but at least we would have been the same height. At least the photographers would have been able to get us in a nice two-shot without the use of a box or a stepladder.
That's true.
If I'd married her.
That's true. If you notice, they're trying to call. This is a pathetic. I love when the papers try and get a catchphrase going that you know is just not going to work. Oh, yeah. So they're trying to call Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban Kerbin.
It's no good.
No,
Kerbin.
No,
it doesn't work because it's not meant to be the. It's meant to be the Christian names, isn't it? It's Benifer, not Garfleck.
You're right.
It's Brangelina, not Polly. It's Tomcat, not Krolms. Kerbin isn't going to work. Why have they gone with that?
I don't know.
Because it would be Neath.
Well, how have Lachlan and Sarah managed to escape this? I mean, he must have a memo out. There's no calling us Lara or Socklin. That's a nice one. I like Socklin. We should be going with Socklin.
What about, have you been talking about Jihad Jack on your show ever?
No.
Sorry, that's not fitting breakfast material.
No. Jihad, no.
I only say that because if we got that clip here, listen, this is ABC News.
Until the combined raids in Sydney and Melbourne last November, just 5 people had been charged under the terror laws. Jihad Jack Thomas was charged in Victoria, but was acquitted on a charge of providing support to terrorists.
Now, this is on your late line.
Right.
So Jihad Jack is actually his name now. I thought that was just like a nickname from the tabloid papers.
As far as I know, his name, A, is not actually Jack. And B, he's never actually participated in jihad. So I think he's entitled to have a new nickname. We might as well just be calling him Bubblegum Ron for all the relevance we get out of that.
I mean, could well be guilty. I don't know. We're not sure. But I just think you haven't got much of a chance if they're calling you Jihad Jack.
True.
It's like, bring in Murder Bob Thompson. It's Murder Bob. Sale of the century years ago. For those who don't remember, what happened? You won millions of dollars?
I won cash and prizes to the total value of, I think it was $239,000. And back in the early 90s, that was a lot of money.
You could buy petrol and bananas with that money.
The highlight of the experience was watching Pete Smith warm up the crowd.
Oh, isn't that amazing?
With an act that dates back to the 1880s.
But it's still killing.
Yeah. Oh, it's still killing. Yeah, I mean, he had sound effects. They were on, wax cylinders, Edison style, but they worked.
Doesn't he get someone to put a cigarette in their mouth and then
he has a whip crack sound effect and he pretends, but it works. The crowd just lap it up. They really do.
The story everyone tells about that is it true that after you won, you went down to the Prince Patrick Hotel in Collingwood, Melbourne, and bought the entire bar?
Yeah, I did. I just shouted at everybody in the pub a drink at the time, which was about 250 people. And can I just say, I wasn't very impressed with their consumption, Tony. When it came to settle up at the end of the night with the landlord, we both agreed they'd put in a fairly piss weekend.
You still had some prize money left over.
Yeah, stacks. Well, I'd gone down there with a big wad of cash in my hand and given it to the landlord at the start of the night. And at the end of the night, I came up and went, "What do I owe you?" And he went, "Actually, I'll give you a couple $100 back." And we were just like, what a bunch of,
hopeless. Obviously, Anthony Morgan wasn't there. What's that about, Parker? Here's a photo of Tory spelling, which I think is in the New Weekly this week. What's that about, Parker?
Okay, you'd be referring to the enormous, well, you might call it a dimple, but geographers call it a gulf between her artificial breasts. That space is marked "Insert talent here." What I love about Tori is that, her father passed away this week, and he was a man whose CV was incredibly impressive. We were sitting in our office in the cage just going, "Oh, he did that, he did this, he did that." Man had an amazing influence on the culture. He made hundreds of millions of dollars. But look at his kids.
Oh,
yeah.
The spelling errors, as I call them.
Yes. Randy, I think, did one episode of Pacific Debacle or whatever it was called.
It was just so freakish looking.
So that makes me feel. Every time I look at Tori, I go, "That's right. Yeah. Your dad had all that, but then he had you." So.
But if you're travelling with her in a car, there's somewhere to put your beverage. That's the great thing. What about? Oh, there's going to be. You'll love this idea. Kung Fu movie legend Bruce Lee's life is to be the subject of a Broadway musical.
Great.
Nunchucks over Broadway.
It's about time.
What's that about, Parko? A Bruce Lee musical.
I really like the idea of the sort of crowd this will attract to musical theatre. Like, I don't think you get too many kickboxers going to see Boy from Oz.
No.
Oh, I thought that Hugh Jackman's high kicks were really good, but probably not enough to knock you out. You know what I mean? That's what I'm looking forward to is, people who are dedicated Bruce Lee fans wanting their money back and getting it.
5 fingers of pizzazz. Fist of Fosse. That's what it's going to be. Yeah. Everybody was kung fu dancing. Gotta kill. Gotta maim. What's that about? Bruce Lee died in 1973 at the age of 32 from swelling of the brain. Also, I think a guy with a metal hand might have been involved.
I'm looking forward to the Steven Seagal musical.
What will that be?
That will be The Cook, the Thief, His Wife and Her Nunchuckers. It's going to be a lot of fun, that one.
And I noticed Steven Seagal just more and more seems to resemble a Chinese restaurant. Have you noticed that? He's expanding Nehru jackets, right. but still, and barely able to lift the foot off the ground for one of his signature high kicks.
Yeah, he's becoming a building more than a person.
He is. He's being rezoned.
Guy, are you there?
I am here, yes.
Hello, Guy.
Hello, Parker. How are you?
Good, mate. Good.
Give us your question, and don't forget to end it with the phrase, "What's that about, Parko?"
Will do. I've been watching a bit of TV recently, and I'm seeing commercials with people calling themselves TV personalities, even though I've never seen them on TV before. There's a young woman named Emily Perry singing the praises of Malaysia, calling herself a TV personality. What's all that about, Parker?
Well, that's about a new generation of media personalities. Interestingly, Guy, you are now radio professional broadcaster Guy after that appearance on the show. That's how easy it is. You see, you're already there. I'm not really familiar with the work of Emily Perry, although Malaysia is a fascinating subject. Right up there with Liechtenstein in your travelogue rankings. Not really sure if we'll see much more of Emily Perry, although probably I'm predicting the future for her. Brand power lady. 5 years from now, that's where she'll be.
I love it when you see things like that. You see a celebrity you've never heard of, or you're watching a film and it'll be Efren Zimbalist Jr., and you're going, well, I'm glad they put the Junior on there to avoid
so I didn't get confused with his dad. Yeah.
And then I love it when they feel the need to tell you that a certain actor is playing a certain character.
Right.
Like, remember the old Australian series of telemovies, The Feds? Yeah. And it would always say, with John Bache as Rainier Bass.
Might as well just put, with John Bache, you won't know which one he is. We'll tell you when he comes on.
Like somebody sitting there going, oh, thank God John Bache is playing Rainier Bass, because I wouldn't bother to tune in otherwise.
Imagine getting a note from your director, I thought your performance was a little bit John Bache. Like, you wouldn't know what to do after that.
It's Nolan!
Mine's nice and simple. Nikki Webster. What's that about?
What's that about, Parko?
Well, Nikki Webster is just one of those things that has to happen every now and again. We do have redheads. Some of them float to the top, like your Fatty Vorton, and some of them... You know how... I'll tell you what it's like. You know, if you put a raisin in a glass of champagne, it floats up, and then it sinks down. And then it floats up again, and then it sinks down. And that's what Nikki Webster is. She's a raisin in the glass of champagne that is Australian TV.
Beautifully
I
done,
like that, a
Parker.
raisin. Excellent.
Has she done my idea yet? I just think she's got to do an album of very jaded middle-aged songs called September of My Years. When I was 17, about 2 weeks ago. That's my idea.
That's what she needs is some history. She needs a couple of drink driving arrests, she needs to be chucked out of a nightclub, and she needs to shag some sad old footballer, and then we'll take her seriously.
Well, let's see if we can get that arranged by Monday. Peter Rowsthorn's co-hosting. What have you got going on the ABC?
Well, interesting. I've got a show that happens to be the woodiest and daggiest show on national television at the moment. Oh, yeah, woodiest. It is hosted by number one Thunderbird, me.
You
can see the strings. I'm so incredibly frightened every time I'm hosting this thing that there's visible strings where I'm going... I actually say words, but my lips look like a Thunderbird. And I'm squinting because I'm trying to read the auto cue.
But there must be others there to help you, surely.
No,
it's
no
not
help.
just you on your own.
No, it's 4 people squinting at auto cues. for half an hour.
And it's called Can We Help?
Yeah, we're not helping anyone.
Do you think you'll be called by the team at Channel 10? We've got a massively expensive franchise that's just been tarnished by accusations of sexual assault. Can you help, Peter Rowsthorn?
Well, we've put our team onto it, Tone, and this is what we've come up with.
Everyone's
Turkey
talking.
slapping.
Turkey slapping. I'd never heard the phrase.
What is it?
It's, basically, last year on Big Brother,
Yes.
it was tackle to the back of the head.
Tackle to the back of the head. Yeah, okay.
And too offensive. Show gets ripped off here. Now it's tackle
okay.
to the front of the head.
Oh, okay.
Apparently
okay.
dangling a bit of tackle.
Oh, right, on someone's forehead.
Whopping it on someone's forehead. That's a turkey slap, apparently, Peter Rowsthorn.
That is hilarious action.
And I'm sure the entire nation was there.
Oh, proud. That's what they be, proud.
At 6:30 last night to see what Gretel was going to say.
You will be aware by now that John and Ashley have been removed from the house. Both boys have been fantastic housemates, but they broke a Big Brother house rule and therefore had to be removed. And John and Ashley will be speaking about the incident for the first time with me tonight at 9:40 on 10.
Oh, they got a bit of sizzle out of it.
Woo!
It's a bit disturbing. It's tackle to the head.
Gobble, gobble.
There's been evictions. There's been police called in, but hey, tune in at 9:40 for the exclusive interview.
Got them on with the cuffs on.
But then, by the end of the show, Gretel had changed her mind.
It's been a hugely emotional day. We were hoping to be talking with John and Ashley tonight, but I've just been informed that to give a more comprehensive insight, we've decided to delay that exclusive conversation. So I'll give you more details on tomorrow night's live nomination show at 7:30.
Oh, so now it's like going to be a 2-hour special. It's going to be a Todd and Brant style turkey slapping special.
The diagrams and everything. Horrible. Now, when you do a turkey slap, do it to your boyfriend, like the two guys doing it to each other?
Well, that's the thing. See,
I don't
all
know
I've
what
heard,
happened.
I've been tuning around breakfast radio this morning, and I've just heard a series of really blokey guys
Right.
coming on and saying, "Oh, I mean, it's something the blokes do to each other, and that's fine, but you don't want to get the ladies involved. That's just weird and disturbing."
So there was a lady involved with two. Oh,
And
that
I'm
does
going,
sound disturbing.
right, so that's between two blokes. That's normal, is it? I know I'm not into sports, Peter, but am I just missing out on a whole colourful range of Australian behaviour?
Sorry, Tony, I think you are. And the Can We Help team.
The Can You Help team? Can you help? I've never been turkey slapped. Can you tee something up? We'll send Clive Robinson round now.
What are the origins of turkey slapping? Where does it come from?
But what I like is the show started and you're thinking, oh, surely it's going to be a turkey slapping festival. There's going to be confessions and there's going to be trouble. But no, the big incident wasn't turkey slapping.
What was it?
Someone stole a chair out of the diary room.
Oh, no!
Oh, that's illegal. And so the housemates had to be punished.
Big Brother is confiscating all beauty products. For further notice, this includes hair gel, hairspray, hair mousse, hair accessories. This means hair clips and headbands.
No way.
No way.
How else
Yes, why?
could you strike fear into someone in Big Brother's house to take away the hair products and headbands?
Well, Jamie would be devastated.
Right. Obviously, you can still adorn your hair with somebody else's penis, but keep the headbands away, all
Out
right?
of desperation, clearly.
And then there was a second punishment.
Big Brother is also confiscating all pillows.
Oh.
no!
And when they're kicking themselves that they got rid of the false breast mom, she would have come in very handy about now.
Give us one of those babies, will you? Yeah, I'll just take it off. There you go.
So, but then it was like must have been 40 minutes into the hour when finally the turkey slapping was mentioned, when Camilla went into the room with the chair.
Camilla, there's one matter Big Brother wants to discuss with you.
I do know what you're referring to. It was an incident that happened last night, and I think that it was something that happened just in fun, and I wasn't offended as such.
While Big Brother reviews the situation, Camilla has rejoined her fellow housemates, who are talking about their cosmetics that were confiscated by Big Brother last night.
Well, Camilla was saying, like, you get up and it's, oh my God, where am I? Who am I? Don't know who I am anymore. Like, when you wear makeup and stuff every day, you'd find that you'll be more aware of yourself.
I reckon I'm hot.
Absolutely
Attractive.
beautiful.
The show's back on course now.
That's much better.
It's back to the main topic, which is whether I'm hot or not.
Yeah.
Is there any
No,
other
still
topic
hot.
in that house? Am I hot? Are you hot? Is that yours on my forehead?
Why's my forehead hot? What's on my forehead? Is there something there? What is it? Why's everyone laughing at me?
I don't know what that is on my forehead, but it's as welcome as...
The yellow-bellied black snake in a barbecue!
A newlywed 70-year-old, that's right, a newlywed 70-year-old has been arrested for having sex with his bride, 59, while driving away from their wedding reception. Police in Italy found the driver partly naked with his bride on his lap.
Ooh.
But he's 70, he's obviously thinking, something might happen. I better get to this business quickly.
Oh, dear.
I've got time to get to Flag Ends. Just going to get started now.
I've got one, quick. Quick, hop on.
Can you change gears for me?
The left-hand indicator was on the whole way. Very hot and heavy.
Did you say I've got one?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Richard Marsden's got one.
Oh, I do have one, but I didn't want to take it back into turkey slap territory.
Why not?
It's more of a teabag
Come
than a
on.
turkey slap. But, it's a former US judge who's been convicted of exposing himself by using a sexual device while presiding over court cases. The investigation into Thompson's actions began after a police officer saw a penis pump in the courtroom. Thompson's former court reporter, Lisa Foster, testified that she traced an unfamiliar shh noise in the courtroom to her boss, wherein it was revealed that he had a penis pump underneath the judicial robes.
That judge will be this week's intruder on Big Brother.
I hope he was banging the gavel.
I'm always very shy to use my pump out in public. I'm going to bring it in next time.
So if people are watching Can We Help and they just hear... So it's straight through to... Obviously, he could just move around the other side of the bench, have another judge come in.
Yep.
He's saving time at least.
How many PSI for a judge penis is there required when you're pumping one of those up?
I find the defendant. Cal Wilson is sitting in with us. What about that Alan Jones book? That's been banned.
That's the one by Chris Masters, isn't it?
Yeah.
Into all kinds of trouble.
And what's happened? Was it on Media Watch last night? It's because the ABC board is front stacked with Nazis now. So
I think those are the words they use.
Is that really? Because who's on there? They've got right-wing historian Keith Shuttle.
But it was all part of a special, a Four Corners special, like about 4 years ago.
Right.
And it's merely an extension of that. So I don't think that any information that was in the Four Corners special wouldn't be in the book.
So it's gone to the board and Shuttle. And who else is on there? David Irving, is he on the ABC board these days?
Possibly.
They've just gone, we're not putting that out. Because there was a quote in the paper somewhere in my Alan Jones file, which is marked toxic, that a few years ago, Liberal Party power broker and ABC board member Michael Kroger opposed Masters making that program about Alan Jones unless, quote, it was overwhelmingly positive. What is the story with Alan Jones? He's a huge flag waver for the Howard government. He's pro the war on terror. He's pro exporting democracy and freedom of speech around the world. But whenever anyone says anything about him, he's on the phone telling them to shut up. He's probably calling right now. I worked for, it was for this station here, for Triple M, but it was called Eon FM back in the late 80s, and we were working on the D-Generation show. And we came into work one day, and there were two blokes with suits and briefcases waiting to see us, like the men in black. And they've gone, you guys planning on saying anything about Alan Jones this morning? And we actually had no idea who Alan Jones was, because it was Melbourne. And despite what Alan Jones thinks, he's not quite as well known down south as he thinks he is. And we're going, no, we're not even sure who he is. And they've gone, you weren't planning on talking about a certain incident which may or may not have happened involving Alan Jones. We're going, we don't even know what you're talking about. And they're going, we'd like you to sign this document to make sure you don't say anything about it. So we had to sign a document to say that we wouldn't say something about something we knew nothing about. So Alan Jones was actually shutting us up before we'd even thought of what it was we were going to say.
Very strange.
So that's been banned. What's in there? What's in there that's so explosive?
I have no
Probably
idea.
a recounting of that incident.
Maybe.
Of the Eon FM incident. Is there stories in there about how he likes to go turkey slapping with Alexander Downer? Is that what he likes to do?
It's a Turkish delight with Alan Jones.
All right, we'll probably move on.
Quite disturbed.
The young people have got a language all of their own, Cal.
Oh, they do.
Have you been on... well, firstly, I read that the word munter is taking off amongst the younger set.
Well, I'm proud to say that I use that word myself. So
Is
maybe
it a New
that's
Zealand
what's
word?
keeping me young. I think so. But someone told me ages ago it was actually a South African word that
Right.
like munted, and it's something racist.
Is
I
it?
think.
Really?
So I'm not sure about that. But that could have just been a young person telling me lies.
Well, that's what they're like. When I was a kid in New Zealand, munter was somebody who might now tastelessly be referred to as a mongoloid. Not literally a mongoloid.
Right.
Not from Mongolia.
No.
But somebody whose just chin sort of jutted out a bit too much and talked like this. And there was a bloke called Graham Thorne, who was a rugby player.
He was, and a commentator, and he was the first man to get a perm in the public eye in New
Wow.
Zealand. No one's ever got over it.
And he had that sort of thing where it feels like the sort of teeth are wired together, but they're still commentating a footy game. How you going, mate? And that was what was known as a munter. But now it's come back around. It's simply an ugly person, a munter.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I just thought it meant that. I didn't know it was an ugly thing. I thought it was like a mental deficiency thing.
A mental deficiency.
Also,
We've probably offended everybody somehow.
But we've offended munters everywhere. I'm just ugly. I'm not stupid.
We've lost the munter vote. But when they're on the internet, the kids will type things in that only their friends can understand.
Like the whole LOL kind of.
Is it POS?
What does that mean?
Parents over shoulder.
Yeah.
Is that right?
That's right, yeah.
How useful.
Well, there's been a big article about it, so everyone's onto it now.
Oh.
POSWRTAIWCIB, which is a parent over shoulder who's read that article, in which case I'm busted. What else have we got? PO50, that's parent over 50, in which case you can feed them some nonsense about porn blocking software and they'll probably believe such a thing exists. JOS, jacket over shoulder. Oh, that's used only by former Brisbane newsreader Glenn Taylor, who was the maestro of wearing it. I mean, I know a lot of newsreaders will throw the jacket over the shoulder for a promo and walk down the street. Only Glenn Taylor could do it on a beach.
Right.
Just walking along the sand with it over his shoulder.
Did he have his pants rolled up a little bit and bare feet and stuff as well?
And the Benny Hill handkerchief.
Did he do it at the desk? I'd like to see it at a news desk.
Just at all times. Jacket over shoulder.
A little bit of a twirl in the chair, do the coy over the shoulder look.
Hello, Glenn, if you're listening. GOS, that's genitals over shoulder. That means it's 4 o'clock in the morning and you're in the Big Brother house. That's how they're worn. That's how they're worn in the Big Brother house, over the shoulder. The Space Shuttle, have they managed to launch that, or is that off now?
I think there's some issues, isn't there, with the foam? Is that correct?
Is it foam? It's always foam.
Some sort of foam problem.
What, so they're having like a foam party inside? They can't get it all cleared out in time.
This is one of the big mysteries we have on this show. It's got tiles on it that can stop it from burning up at high speeds, but a Nerf bat, apparently, do enough damage to delay the launch for a year. They're saying it's been delayed because of weather.
Oh, okay.
But did you see the clip on the news?
No.
I'm not sure if it was weather. Have a listen to this.
Lightning strikes just kilometres from the launch pad made it too dangerous for the shuttle to lift off.
Okay, Steve, we've talked to launch weather and landing weather and the ops manager, and we've concluded that we're not going to have a chance to launch today.
Yeah, we copy. Looking out the windows doesn't look good today, and we think that's a great plan.
The crew of 7 astronauts will try again early Wednesday morning.
I don't think that's weather. Does that sound like a Mark III Zephyr to you?
Yeah, and there's a P plate on the back of it as well.
Get this. Weekday mornings from 9 on Triple M.